Hi and welcome to Wigan RC, and we're back with the F86 and we have nearly finished all of the planking. So just got this part to do. We've got servos already in and we've separated the fuse for the first time. It was a little bit difficult, but it's done. And here is the bottom of the fuselage, ready to start planking. I've put some high sole around the front landing gear, put the nose on and the air intake, as you can see in there, and the rest of it is ready to start planking, to put the gear doors on. Now I've opted for the 3D printed gear doors, so that they're already done, just to sand them down and get them ready. And I've cut off all of the legs and started sanding so that the balsa sheets all sit nice and flat. So speaking of the balsa sheets, here's my balsa, and thank you to Balsa Central who supplied all of the balsa. So it's great to support your local Aussie companies in the hobby. So thanks again to them. They sent me a sponsorship pack as well. So it's very kind of Emma from Balsa Central to do that. But we're cracking on with the build. So lots of sanding left to do, lots of prep work, but we've almost finished sheeting in a very short period of time. Okay, back to it.
Thanks to Ironbark for sponsoring today's video, and their link is in the description for all of their great products.
So this is the very first time I've fiberglassed a plane, and the one side is done. I've decided to use 50-gram cloth, and this is from Ironbark in Torquay, and it's went on really nice. The weave is very, very nice, as you can see on the cloth. And I'm using Hardener 285, and I'm using a laminating resin L285, and they're 1 kilo batches, so goes on really nice and smooth and looks very glassy. So here are the elevators, glassed, really nice finish. There's a few high spots and low spots, but generally speaking, for my first time doing the glassing on the model, not a bad effort. So now it's just a matter of trimming all the excess off and then sanding it down, getting ready for the other side. So now it's just a matter of giving it a light sand just to start taking off some of the high spots and flatten down the edges, and then do the other side. So we're back and just doing all the parts for the gear doors, the framing around the gear doors. So as you can see there, it's all framed in around the gear doors so that they will sit nicely. And then if I grab one of the gear doors, this is just one that I've just started to cut this one out. So the gear doors will sit there. They're nice and flush. So they should sit nicely once I've sanded them down and put the hinges in place. So I'll just finish off the bottom of the fuse. I've just been pinning the sides. The 3D printed doors are in and fit nice and flush. A little bit of a gap so that I can fit the hinges. Just need to give them a good sand and then I'll start to fill any little gaps that are there, but not bad, pretty precise. And then I've also done a gear door is there. I'm not sure if I'm going to put a gear door on or not, whether I'm going to leave it open or put a gear door. We'll see how fussy I get and then take it from there. Okay, these last little two bits to cover and then we can turn it over and finish up just by the wing. So just doing the leading edges on the fixed and the moving part of the elevator. I've just glued 2 sheets of 3mm on the ends and then I will profile them around and so they can start to move nice and smoothly up and down. So on the fixed side as well, just glued some balsa on there and also on the rudder. So as you can see what I've done, I've started to round it all off nicely and create a profile and make sure it's straight all the way down and finish that part nicely. Put a straight line down the middle, make sure you don't sand off the pencil and keep it all nice and perfect. I've made some of my own sanding blocks rather than go and buy all of those expensive permagrits and all the rest of it. Put some different grades on, some shorter blocks, some 220 and 180s and so forth. Make life easier. So let's crack at it. Okay, it's week number 4 and we are cracking on with the F86 Sabre from Mirce, and today we're going to do the canopy. I'm going to sheet all of this canopy. As you can see, I've put some cling film down so none of the glue or any bits and pieces stick to anything, and I've got my location holes there for the back of the canopy. And there is a location hole that I haven't drilled for the front yet, but I've got it clicked into place nice and level, and that will hold it while I cut some thin sheets like these and then I start to sheet the canopy. I will be getting hopefully a scale cockpit. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a sliding cockpit yet, but I'm thinking about it. And here's the rudder drying from the glass. I've just glassed these and I've glassed the moving parts. I've also done all of the hinge holes, lined everything up. So we're really cooking with gas. And there's the elevators and the moving part to the rudder. So really pleased. I'm not sure, I've put an MPX connector for the rudder so I can just slide it down and it will just connect straight away. And also for the elevator, I thought I'd try one of these computer connectors. I don't know if you can see it in there. So that's got the rudder, and I've also got power for the lights in there. I've already run power and we're really going. So still got a sheet underneath the back part of the fuse, but it is now fastened together, and as you can see there's a beautiful, if I can just focus, there's a nice joint there for the two fuselage halves. So yeah, cooking with gas, let's go. So we've done the first steps of the canopy and it's looking good so far. So once I've sheeted the canopy, it will be a lot stronger and hopefully stay in one place and stay straight where it's been clipped to the fuselage. So I'll continue to sheet the top of the canopy, and then before I close up the space too much, I'll unclip everything when it's dry tomorrow. Okay, so we've nearly finished the canopy and just drying the last little part, making sure the transition between the canopy and the fuse is nice and straight, and I've just added a few pieces of balsa so that I can sand that down to make a lip transition really nice and smooth, and then I can sand this around and fill whatever little gaps are there to make it look nice and smooth. So it's a good thing about balsa, all the imperfections and mistakes you make, you can just fill and carry on. So pretty good work the last few days. I've put in a couple of good long days. I've already started glassing, so I've glassed the top and the bottom of the elevators. I've also hinged the elevators and the rudder, and I've also put and tested the dry fitted the hinges and the servo. I've also glued in the horns. I've gone for just a double horn. It's all epoxied in, so once that's sprayed and painted, that'll look great. And then underneath I've also put in the hinges and the servos for the elevators, so everything's coming together nice. And I've just also glued on the leading edges, so I'll just sand to make that nice and level. And I've also done this side as well, leading edge, and I've also done the top of this leading edge here and started filling and sanding just to make sure everything's nice and smooth.